What's up people, it's Wasabi and I'm back with another review. And today we have the Pwnage Trinity CF and this was sent to me by Pwnage to share with you guys. But as always with the content on this channel, these are my thoughts, personal opinions and experiences with the product. Now, before we get on with the review, here's a quick look at the packaging because that's what you pay for too. First you got the mouse itself. This one is one of their limited edition colorways. The 8K wireless receiver in the shape of a pyramid. The soft braided USB-C cable, very nice and bendy. A tool to loosen the screws so that you can reposition the center, a set of universal grip tapes and full-size ones as well, extra set of standard-size PTFE skates and 2 sets of dot skates, a Pwnage brand sticker, and an instruction manual. And that's pretty much all that's included inside the box. Now before we go any further, let's manage some expectations here real quick. So this is the first symmetrical mouse from Pwnage that has the design and developments from the Stormbreaker. And also it is made with carbon fiber composite instead of magnesium alloy, which is what the CF in the name stands for. The standard version of this mouse is going for $139 and $149 for the limited edition colors. This configuration that I have is the Sakura Samurai colorway with the solid side option. And honestly, I think this color looks much better on the website than it does in person. I think if they just had a black base with the red thin highlights, it would look so cool. The cutouts are pretty much Pwnage's signature detail and it's very excessive compared to what you'd find on the market. Some people like it, some people hate it, and I think it's too much going on for an option with multiple color details. The cutout design works much better on just a plain solid color with a contrasting black scroll wheel and side buttons in my opinion. The design of the scroll wheel has the same detailing as all of them mice, and in this colorway in particular, there's really just too much going on. You have curved details in the scroll wheel, spikes on the mouse buttons, and diamonds on the back, and it's just a little too much for a mouse this small. And the side buttons which you see here are pretty much the same design as the ones you'd see on the original Razer Viper Mini, which this mouse takes heavy inspiration from. When you look at the mouse from the back or on top, you can see a nasty red, yellow and black cable that is just to me not something that you want to see. I'm sure it crossed their mind because it's super obvious, but I just hope that in future they'd source for a black cable for all their releases. It's a small thing to some people, but it will be a nice improvement to see. On the bottom, it's got the same cutout design treatment, and I love the idea that you can adjust the sensor position. It's something that Pwnage has had on their Stormbreaker, which is their ergonomic mouse, and you have it here too. It really is their brand signature feature that stands out from the rest. What's new they're trying with this release is that instead of magnesium alloy as the main material on the top half of the mouse, they are using a carbon fiber composite construction which allows for low weight and durability. The body of the mouse does feel very solid, mouse button wobble is almost non-existent, and the scroll wheel is held securely enough in position. And the side buttons have a little play to them, but not excessive enough to bother me. Now the base is very soft and will break if you push your thumb into it. I would not recommend trying because you might just ruin your mouse. If you use your mouse like a regular human being, it really shouldn't be something to be concerned about. The stated weight on the website is 37 to 39 grams. I would guess this is a range that includes both versions with the cutouts and the solid sides. I have the one with the solid sides, and with the skates that it comes with, it weighs in at 41 grams. Before I go into more detail with the shape and how it feels from my experience, to put things into perspective, my hand size is 17.5 by 9. The shape is a tweaked version of the Razer Viper Mini, and there really is no better way to put it, so you will see many similarities to that mouse. If I were to cut it short, this is a Viper Mini with a higher profile. The mouse button grooves are pretty much identical to the Viper Mini, and your fingers will feel nice and securely positioned in place. Even the front flares that quite many people found uncomfortable on the Viper Mini, you have it here as well. The sides curve in like an hourglass shape, much like the Viper Mini, and the hump is right about the middle and peaks up quite high. I can actually do a palm grip on this mouse even though the mouse has a mini form factor. I think the most noticeable difference if you were to compare it with the Viper Mini is the height and the curvature of the hump and the steepness of the back end. It doesn't feel wide in the back of my palm, but because of the height of the hump, it does feel plump in my hand. And this is good news for people who love the Viper Mini shape but just wish for it to fill up their palm a little more to feel more supportive in the back. The Trinity has a matte coating which to me doesn't feel grippy at all. Really, between the ergonomic magnesium Stormbreaker mouse and the carbon composite build here, I can't feel a difference and it doesn't feel as grippy as I would like for gaming. If you have sweaty hands, I would very much recommend to go ahead and use the many grip tapes they included in the box. The pre-installed skates are pretty good. They are virgin grade 100% PTFE skates with rounded edges. Really no real need to immediately swap them out. These are rather well balanced in speed and control, though, and you have the option to use the dot skates that are included as well. Just keep in mind that because of the cutout on the bottom of the mouse, you are limited to the extreme top and bottom sections, but this really shouldn't be a problem for most people. Now this part is to help people visualize the different grip styles on the Trinity with reference to my hand size, and I mostly use a relaxed claw grip style with this shape. For regular or aggressive claw grip, it feels way too high to feel natural. Whereas for a palm grip style, it's very doable even for a small mouse like this because the top of the mouse goes up pretty high for its size. But it's ironically not very comfortable to do this grip style with my hand size because the peak of the hump feels like it's pushing right into my joint up here. And for the fingertip grip style, it is quite okay. I do find the height of the back to get in the way because of my hand size, but if you have larger hands, I wouldn't think you'd have much of a problem using this grip style on the Trinity. The Trinity has Omron optical switches that were first introduced with the Stormbreaker BLG edition, and these optical switches have a good amount of tactility. They are not light to press, but the tensioning and rebound give very tight, snappy, and crisp clicks for an optical switch. The switches are very sensitive here though, and I experienced slam clicking, so I had to enable the slam click prevention through the software. Very little pre-travel on both mouse buttons, post-travel is quite a lot, and some post-travel is something I prefer. It makes the clicks feel not too dry and stiff, and gives more of that dampened feedback at the end when you follow through the click. And on my crispy meter with the way they sound and feel, I would put them right about here. Both side buttons are light to press, a little stiffer in the front compared to the back, and there is a bit of pre-travel and post-travel to both the front and back, and they just feel fine to me. The scroll wheel, I think it feels okay. It's not as stiff as the previous mice. It's a dry feeling scroll wheel to say the least, not very smooth when you follow through the motion. The steps are distinct though, and you just need a bit of force to click down on the scroll wheel, which feels just fine for gaming. You know, I would love to see them do something new with the scroll wheel with how it looks and feels, because right now it doesn't feel quite refined in my opinion, and it's one of the touch points of a Pwnage mouse that I think if they change, it can really make that mice feel a little more premium. Now here's a quick sound test to give you a better idea of how this mouse sounds. This has what they call a XERO sensor, which is basically a custom-tuned Pwnage 3950, 99.8% tracking accuracy, 30,000 dpi, and it's optimized for 8000 Hz polling rate. Are there any real-world advantages I could feel compared to other Pwnage 3950 sensors? Well, even on the 400 Hz Zowie monitor that I use, I can't feel it. Which is nothing wrong. It's a good thing to hear that the sensor performs just as well as other Pwnage 3950s on other mice. When I first got this mouse, polling rate fluctuates on 1000, 2000, and 8000 Hz settings. And for 2000 Hz in particular, it would rubber band under and way above 2000 Hz. Now this is something I've already shared with Pwnage and can be fixed with a firmware update, but this is just to share for anyone who receives their mouse and notices it happening so you don't panic. What's most unique about Pwnage mouse is the sensor and that you can reposition it, and it really does make a difference. You see, when you go from one mouse to another, the sensor position, depending on how forward or backward it was, will take some getting used to, because it can feel more or less sensitive, which is very noticeable when you game on a high sense and flick with your wrist. And I think it's a wonderful feature of Pwnage mice, and it actually makes it an easy mouse to adjust to. And the great thing is that they managed to implement this feature while still managing to keep the weight down. You have a web-based software called Pwnage Hub. Man, this is a tough name to say around friends and family because, I mean, no matter how you say it, it's gonna sound like Pornhub. I don't know, it's up to them. The software is pretty good anyway. This web-based software is a much better experience than the downloadable software that they had for their previous mice. You pretty much got all the features and customizability you would expect from a gaming mouse today. You can customize up to 3 mouse profiles, select your polling rate of course up to 8000 Hz, DPI adjustment, you also got slam click prevention, which I felt the need to enable for this mouse because it's very sensitive, and you have motion sync and free lift off distance settings. Button mapping is in the beta phase at this point in time, and macro settings are not available just yet. When you get the mouse, please update it as soon as possible because I've experienced stutters in game, and I would hope that by the time this video reaches you, any bugs or inconsistencies would have been worked out with a firmware update. The battery life is rated up to 160 hours from office use and about 90 hours from gaming, and it takes about 2 hours to a full charge. My guess is that the battery life numbers come from using this mouse at 1000 Hz for office and 2000 Hz for gaming. Connectivity wise, you can use this both wirelessly or wired, of course. The highest polling rate you can go up to with the included wireless dongle is 8000 Hz, and using this wired, the maximum polling rate is 8000 Hz as well because this has dual high-speed chips in the PCB, and you also get a soft charging cable in the package, which is perfectly fine for wired gaming. I don't particularly find the Trinity comfortable to use, and this is very specific to me and my hand size because first, the hump is a tad bit too high, and this Trinity shape takes inspiration from the Razer Viper Mini, which has a lower hump design which made the mouse feel very agile. Whereas on the Trinity, it introduces a higher hump on an almost identical design and proportions, which honestly feels a little off and restrictive. And it really is the hump that peaks up a little too high in my opinion, and it's quite interesting how a little adjustment can change how much a mouse feels. Of course, this does not mean that you will feel the same way about it. It really depends on your hand size and if you like a high mid hump on a mini sized mouse with an hourglass shape. I find this very interesting because the Viper Mini shape was made to feel great for smaller hand sizes, and for my hand size, that one feels more comfortable to game with. But this is just how I feel about it when I was switching between the Trinity and my Viper Mini signature. Aside from that, the Trinity is a very interesting one that would satisfy the little things that some people have been wanting to see Razer improve with the Viper Mini design. If you see yourself putting on grip tapes and you want the lightest weight possible, then go with the version with the cutouts on the sides. But if you prefer not using grip tapes on any mouse in general like I do, then go for the solid option. The second thing is the full black version or the natural purple colorways look the best in my opinion. The colorway that I have is called Sakura Samurai, and honestly it looks a lot better on the website than it does in person because the bright red details pop out a lot nicer on screen and it doesn't pop out as much on the actual product and sort of looks like a blotch. I hope they do a great colorway with a black scroll wheel and black side buttons because that is a color combination with this design that I would buy for sure. And the last thing is that you may experience slam clicking because this one is pretty sensitive, and if you do, get on the software and enable slam click prevention. Now, final thoughts and what do I think of its value? The Trinity is a mouse that offers a lot of things that some people wanted to see from the Viper Mini signature. People who loved the mini form factor but wanted more support in the palm, people who wanted more secure side buttons or preferred the original side button design from the first Viper Mini, perhaps a lighter weight web-based software and a more tactile feeling click experience. And all that is the value which this mouse offers to people who are looking for these things in the Viper Mini. What would make me want to buy this mouse is that it's not as expensive as a Viper Mini Signature Edition, and it's got a carbon fiber composite build, and that's about it really. This is the best launch from Pwnage yet, and I think from the tone of my voice you can probably tell that I'm not too mad about it, but I'd say if you always wanted a Viper Mini Signature and to experience a lightweight mouse with a carbon fiber composite build, then I'd say go for it. To my knowledge, there are quite many people who are enjoying the Trinity, so if it's within your budget and you are looking to experience something new, then this one is pretty good. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, please leave a like and subscribe to support the channel, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.